So what if the world's most sacred texts weren't actually about history at all? Today, we're going to explore this really fascinating theory that basically reframes all of that ancient wisdom as a detailed secret map of you. Let's get right into it.
Okay, so this is the wild idea at the very heart of Manly P. Hall's work. He basically looked at all the world's myths, scriptures, you name it, and said, hey, these aren't about things that happened out there. Nope. He argued they're actually these incredibly complex allegories for your own anatomy and physiology.
And this right here, this is the master key that unlocks the whole thing. It's an ancient idea called the Hermetic axiom, or the law of analogy. And what it says is pretty simple but profound, that the human body, the little universe, or microcosm, is a perfect, tiny reflection of the entire universe, the macrocosm. As above, so below. All right, so if we take that key and run with it, the human body suddenly becomes something totally different. It's not just a bunch of organs and bones anymore. It's like a living textbook of cosmic secrets. Let's see exactly how this perspective shift works.
Okay, this is where the big switch flips. The conventional view, well, that says these sacred texts are about history, rules, stories that happened way back when. But Hall's view, he says, forget that. Those stories, like the story of creation, aren't about something that happened out there a long time ago. He's saying it's a drama that's unfolding right here, inside your own body, all the time.
So, let's start our tour of this incredible symbolic map. And we're going to begin at the highest point of the body, which, in this way of thinking, actually corresponds to the highest realm of the cosmos, your head.
So, according to Hall, the ancients literally mapped the cosmos right onto us, splitting our bodies into three main worlds. You've got heaven, the divine world, right up top in the skull and brain. Then there's earth, the middle world, the world of day-to-day life and struggle. That's your torso and all its organs. And finally, you have hell, or the underworld, which is the generous system, the world where things come into physical form.
And here's a perfect example of that as above, so below idea. Your skull? It's not just a bone protecting your brain. It becomes this domed temple, sitting on a mountaintop. And the brain inside? That's the upper room you read about in the Gospels, the most sacred space, the Holy of Holies, where your own consciousness can connect with the divine.
And it gets even more specific, which is just wild. The physical structure of the brain itself gets personified. Get this, the 12 main convolutions, or folds of the brain, they're seen as the 12 disciples of Christ. And they're all gathered around the third ventricle, this little chamber deep in the brain, which is seen as the Holy of Holies, the place where the divine actually speaks to us.
Now, inside this upper room, you've got these two little glands that act like master controls. First, there's the pineal gland. You've probably heard of it as the third eye. That's the positive, masculine pole, the organ of spiritual sight. Then you have its partner, the pituitary body. That's the negative, feminine pole, and it governs our physical energy. Together, these two tiny spots are like the two poles of our entire consciousness.
Okay, so if your head is this divine world, heaven, then how does it talk to the rest of the body? What's the connection? Well, according to this map, that sacred pathway is your spine.
And just like the skull, the spine gets a major upgrade. It's no longer just a stack of bones. It becomes Jacob's ladder, a symbolic ladder climbing from earth to heaven. And its 33 segments, well, they're said to represent the 33 degrees of initiation in the ancient mystery schools. It's literally the path you walk to get from the material world all the way back up to the divine.
You've probably seen the symbol for this, the staff of Hermes, with two serpents wrapped around it. Well, that's a picture of this spiritual energy in the spine. You have Ida, the negative, feminine current, Pingala, the positive, masculine current, and in the middle, the staff itself, is the Sushumna. The whole goal of the spiritual seeker is to raise this fiery energy, known as Kundalini, straight up that central channel all the way to the brain to achieve illumination.
Now, this whole idea of energy moving up leads to a really crucial distinction they made. There are two kinds of sight. True clairvoyance is seen as a positive thing. It's an active will that uses those higher centers in the brain we just talked about. But that's totally different from mediumship, which is seen as a negative, passive state. It uses the solar plexus, a lower nerve center, and is considered, well, a step backward, not forward.
Okay, let's head down from the spine into the torso, that middle world of Earth. Down here, we find that pretty much every single organ, every fluid in the body, has its own special symbolic job to do.
Let's take blood, for instance.
In this system, blood is literally the vehicle that the spirit uses to operate in the physical world. And the liver is key because it's the source of that red blood. Think about it. The fiery, life-giving energy of the blood. It gets linked to mythological figures like Lucifer, whose name means light-bringer or heat-bringer, or Prometheus, who stole fire from mankind and was punished how? By having a vulture eat his liver. It's all the same myth, just told in a different way.
Even the primary colors get mapped onto our bodies. It's like a trinity inside of us. Blue is the color of the father, the mind, and it's associated with the pineal gland. Yellow is the sun, the color of the soul, shining out from the third ventricle. And red, that's the Holy Ghost, the active, passionate force of the physical body, linked right to the liver and our blood.
So what's the big picture here? What's the point of this whole anatomical map? Well, it's meant to be a kind of universal decoder ring, a key that lets you unlock all the world's sacred traditions and see that they're all telling one single story, the story of you.
And once you have this key, you start seeing it everywhere. In Masonry, the story of Hiram Abith isn't about a historical builder, it's about the life force that's buried inside our own bodies. In Hinduism, the 9 incarnations of Vishnu perfectly mirror the 9 months we spend developing in the womb. The Holy Land in the Bible, it's not a place in the Middle East, it's a map of the spiritual centers in your own body. And alchemy, the whole thing is just a giant metaphor for transforming yourself.
So, when you boil it all down, what Hall is really saying is that all those gods, all those heroes and demons from mythology, they aren't real beings out there somewhere. They're personifications of us. They're our own internal forces, our organs, our psychological drives, all playing out in this grand, epic drama inside the theater of our own bodies.
So where does all this leave you? Look, this framework isn't really about asking you to believe all of this literally. It's about offering a totally new perspective, a new lens to look through. It's a way of thinking that turns the simple act of self-study into the most sacred journey you could ever take. It suggests that maybe, just maybe, the greatest mysteries aren't somewhere out there in the stars, but are right here, waiting to be discovered inside of you.